In a number of spiritual paths, your deeper questions might find answers in a session in the pastor's study. You're looking for something more, so let's offer you something different. Merry meet, blessed be, and welcome to yet another session in a very different pastor's study. Although right now, we're in the chapel, not the study. And I'm wearing my white robe, partly as a matter of pride, something to give thanks about. A few days ago, this robe was not fit to be seen in public. Woolite does some great stuff. I don't mind saying thanks for a specific product when it goes through the entire collection of robes I have, Lady Stormy and I have, and fixes things, heals them, so to speak. There's a lot that goes into a robe. It's not just a piece of cloth. Like any magical tool, it's an extension of ourselves. And so, you can probably see behind me some stuff that's still drying. One thing that you can't see, I should say one person that you can't see, is Thor, who is a wonderful cat who chose me, and he's the guardian of the basement. Wonderful little guy. He chose me. He jumped into the car and sat on my lap. Not too often the cats jump into cars and sit on people's laps. We found out that he was a street stray that nobody else wanted, so we gave him a home, and he's been happy here ever since. Anyway, so much for the intro. And here's the business part. Last week we had a celebration. And I got the celebration done, post-production and out, in time to batten down the hatches for Hurricane Irene. And now we're cleaned up after Hurricane Irene. But I remember talking about, time before last, things that we can do. All well and good, but just like with politicians, they can talk about all sorts of wonderful things and wrap themselves in principles and all that sort of stuff, but what are they doing? That's my question for any politician, is what are you doing? And so for myself, what am I doing? Well, if you're part of the Order of the Pentacle, you've noticed, if you're on Facebook, that I'm making an effort to make this and the Secrets in Plain Sight better known to the people who are serving in the military, especially those who are deployed. Wouldn't surprise me if somebody who's deployed comes home and still wants to take part. That's not a problem. I remember when I came back from Thailand, there was one particular disc jockey on the Armed Forces Thailand network that I consider to be the least propagandizing, the one that made me feel the most at home and not separated from home. Guy by the name of Charlie Tuna. When I found myself in a town where his show was on, you better believe I tuned in Charlie Tuna. And no, not the Wolfman. Well, I'll get into that another time, maybe. But Charlie Tuna made me feel a connection with home. And that's what I hope to do here. People who follow our paths, actually anybody who follows any path that is not Protestant evangelical, is probably going to find themselves feeling pretty isolated, especially if they're deployed overseas, or for that matter, sometimes in the States. Yes, I remember how isolated spiritually I felt at Ubon, Thailand. I also remember how spiritually isolated I felt at Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. So, yeah, that's my main aim. And it's basically an extension of what I've been wanting to do since I ran Covenstead Grove, a dial-up BBS. The two kind of people that I wanted to deal with are the spiritually isolated and the people who've been spiritually hurt. And so here's a way. I'm working on making it, putting the word out, so that those who would like may partake of this. And I'd love to know what people would like to hear about. There's a bit of I try to make this and the Secrets in Plain Sight different enough, especially so that I don't wind up feeling the temptation to say the same thing in two places. This is not the Secrets in Plain Sight. The one time that they do overlap is when we have a major celebration, of course. And that isn't even that much of an overlap. Here we've got an intimate group of people. There, it's a big celebration in a major temple. So, I guess you can say I've picked up my own gauntlet. And those of you who are in a position to do something, see what you can do. I know my audience isn't composed of just solitaries. And even a solitary doesn't have to be that solitary. And if you are deployed, and if you know other people who are of the same spiritual persuasion as we are, can always watch together. And, of course, I welcome feedback, ideas. What would you like to hear about? Is there an issue that needs to be addressed? My main concern here in a very different pastor study, of course, is issues. Learning and edification on the Secrets in Plain Sight. Mass for the shutout. For ritual. And for doing the magical things. And for coming together for that purpose. And I promise you one of those every month. So, let's see how much we can do. I'm Mike. Merry part, merry being again. See you next week. Uriel's Gifts and The Secrets in Plain Sight are sponsored by the Temple of Gaia. At Temple of Gaia, we don't train you to our path. We show you how to find and pursue your own path. Above all, we tried to provide a great place to come together and to share. We're located in Collingdale, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, and wherever cyberspace can be reached. To learn more, visit our website at templeofgaiainc.org or our meeting place in cyberspace at templeofgaia.ning.com. Thank you for coming. Feel free to return at any time. We intend to always have something for you here. Blessed be. This has been a presentation of the Wise Ones Net. Merry part and blessed be.